guess you're not going to answer the question that Chris didn't really answer about the quarterback who's your starter. My question is, we've seen a body of work with Gio, and I'm not putting it down, but
right.
You're 125th in the country. You made a decision to go with a true freshman, figured, live with the ups and downs. If you do go with Gio, what makes you think the offense will be any better with Gio?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't think of it that way. We're just trying to evaluate the guys' body work type thing, and who we feel best about for Saturday. I think Art's made a lot of strides. I think he's going to, obviously, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. I think it takes time. Obviously, a lot of people don't have any patience, which is fine. That's fine. That's how it goes. I understand. If I paid money to go see a game, I wouldn't have a lot of patience either. But he hasn't played a lot of football. Gio has. He has some of that game experience. So, I think sometimes it's a balance of you don't. And I don't know that I really believe in the whole ruin the guy thing, because he makes a bunch of mistakes and he's not getting like killed. It's not like the line is getting hit 50 times a game. And so I don't know that that's going to happen. I think if you just look at the two guys, one guy has experience, he's been in the game, but one guy needs it. So I don't know. I guess I hadn't thought of it that way. What do you get one over the other? I think we're trying to look at. I start with who's gives us the best chance, but almost like what's best for Art at some point, for his kind of development. And I think all that stuff will work itself out. But I do think he's getting better. I think he's got more command. I think it was a hard week to go through back to back. An injury where you think, oh shoot, am I gonna, be able to function and play, to disastrous results, to, that's a lot on your mind. You could say, not pay attention to it or just move on or whatever. But obviously, he's got his teammates here, and he's got a lot of people that hold him accountable. And I do think he's going in the right direction. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback here.
Would it be fair to say that it looked like on Saturday Art improved, he made better decisions? Did you feel that way? And I guess at that point, is it hard to really yank a guy from a game when he's showing improvements, given what he had against Kansas?
Yeah, no, it was. I don't think it was it was 28-6 too. And you're sitting there going, So I do think he's improved. Relatively speaking. I mean, again, you're talking about a pretty small body of work. You're talking about a game in 3 halves or so, or whatever it is, 3 quarters, half. So. Yeah, it was. It just felt like, maybe, whether you call it a spark or whatever it might be. But I mean, we have to make some plays. I mean, if you don't make any plays, nothing happens. People are like, well, you don't play with a lot of excitement. Well, no. I mean, you go 3 and out, or you don't advance the ball more than 5 or 6 yards at a clip. Well, there's not a whole lot of jumping up and down to be done. So the plays have to inspire other plays, which did in the couple of drives that we had, to move the ball down the field. Guys were, you feel like, okay, and you get to count them on a little bit of a run, calling the plays too. Like we're actually moving where not every third play is a third down. So yeah, it's not an easy thing, right, wrong, or whatever. I mean, we didn't come back and win the game, so, I think the whole thing is going to work itself out well. It's not going to be on any timetable that probably anybody expected. I think everyone kind of thought, well, the team would be sitting here 3-1. I mean, in the preseason is what everybody kind of just assumed / looked at. I think we played 2 teams that are better than people think, Kansas and Buffalo, but we didn't play well. So, in some form or fashion, didn't play well. Like, I didn't think we were. It's hard to say. There's 13 points and whatever the numbers are, but we were actually improving. We just don't have any of the bigger. We're just not making any big plays to kind of supplement the. And I don't think we have. Usually on offense, if 11 guys, you need pretty much all 11 to do something passable. One guy could ruin the whole play, unless you have somebody that just doesn't matter what he does. I mean, if you can throw a hitch to Kenny Britt and have 9 guys fall down, he might score. you know, but but where we are now, you know, except for, you know, maybe Raheem, you know, all 11 guys need to do their job well, or the play is probably, you know, in trouble and/or is not going to get anything beyond the 4 to 5 yard, you know, landmark. That makes sense.
But you talked about Art Geo. Where's Jonathan Lewis standing? Is he close to contesting? What has he done, and what does he need to do to get in that mix?
Well, you know, I don't want to. It's hard to say, you know, 3 guys are going to get reps, and when you get into these weeks, it's a 3-day week, but really it's darn near a 2-day, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, Thursday you're kind of polishing things up. So it's hard to say, okay, you 3 guys are going to, you know, sort this out, you know, and then, so, you know, John is a really good player. He's a Rutgers guy through, and he loves it here. He's a beloved guy on this team by staff and players. I just think it's hard to say, you know, 3 guys. I think like you asked Keith, you know, where's the Geo Art thing? Well, the one guy's played a bunch of games. I mean, if there's any difference, so if you go from an inexperienced bunch of games guy, then it's like, well, how you picking between the 2 inexperienced guys, and then that's kind of where, fairly or unfairly, it kind of falls right now.
Could Art benefit from just a week of not having the pressure of starting, you know, sitting, listening, learning? Could he benefit from just taking a step back and taking a breath for a week?
Well, I think that's what we've talked about. I think that's all part of kind of the evaluation process that we go through. Obviously, you know, we went through the whole camp and picked the guy as the starter. So in terms of who we think is the talented or guy that gives you a chance, that's what we think, you know. But, you know, as things unfold, you kind of have to adjust and work with him. I think he's pretty honest. You guys know that. I mean, I don't think he pulls any punches in terms of what he thinks, feels about his performance or what he needs going forward. So that's part of it. I think that's part of the kind of, as we say, evaluation process and deciding what's best, because, you know, we have a season to play that we want to have some success. I mean, right now we've had really none. And yet we have a guy that's going to have a chance to be a cornerstone guy in the team for a long time. So that's where you get the kind of the back and forth. But he's been good with us in terms of, you know, communication and where he is physically, mentally, and that. So
Is that part of it difficult, where you have this young kid and you think he's the guy long term, but you're also trying to decide what to do now? Is that kind of difficult to differentiate between?
yeah, but I think at our, you know, coming out of camp, you know, it's still, I mean, I don't think I changed my mind on it. I think he's still the guy now. I mean, if we didn't, I mean, we weren't starting him for next year when we started him in the opener or the years after. You know, I think he's obviously, you know, you guys are out there watching. I think he's a very talented guy, and it's hard. You know, he's got all the intangibles with it. He just doesn't have the experience. And you know, like I said, once the season starts, and you've got 3 practice days. Day 4 is Saturday. That's kind of another day of gaining experience, but it just happens to be it all counts, and everybody's watching. So that's where it's difficult to recreate that on a Tuesday and Wednesday. We try to do it as best we can, but the consequences aren't quite the same, you know.
Obviously, we don't have the game plan. We don't know what's being called. It seemed when Art was in on Saturday, you guys were relatively cautious with him. You know, if you're going to stick with him, do you just have to kind of let it rip and let him throw the ball around, and if he makes mistakes, so be it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a little, you know, you come off a game like the Kansas game. I think we had to be, you know, relatively cautious if that's, you know, just to get them started, you know, get them going. You know, we came out the one throw early. I think we thought was going to be a little bit of a deeper throw. It didn't end up that way, and then, you know, we threw some kind of shorter things just to kind of get us on a little bit of a run and get everybody to relax, kind of like, you know, I mean, if you drop back and threw the first ball to the other team, I think everybody, you know, would have been crazy. You know what I mean? So you just have to understand that those things are at work, whether they're important or not, or whether they're factors in what you think in the big picture or not, they happen. And so we had to be smart in terms of how we're going to start the game with them. And then, you know, as everything unfolded, then all of a sudden he's out of the game and we're down 20 whatever points. And so it's like, because he did put together a couple good drives, you know, the red zone, you know, the Wildcat deal, you put that on me. I mean, whatever, we don't get that. I think it was gonna score, but whatever, we can't execute it, so it's a bad play. And then, you know, we get down there, I think he's gonna throw the ball in the end zone, and we don't pick up a blitz, and he gets blindsided, and we have 2 guys open to score on the 3rd and 9. Those are the 2 field goal drives. So, you know, if you're sitting there with 2 touchdown drives, really not much would have changed from what he did, you know, but is it that much better? You know, that's how it goes, I guess, in terms of results. I mean, we knew going in, red zone was our big thing. It was no turnovers, which we did, handle their front, which we up and down, and score in the red. We went 1 for 4. So there's the game. I mean, so, but had we gone 2 for 2 there, and on his 2 of his first 3 drives or whatever it was, you know, maybe we're thinking a little bit differently. And I don't know that it was really technically on him for either one.
You kind of stole my thunder with the Wildcat. I wanted your interpretation on that play, and then whether we can see that going forward. And then 2, just a lack of big plays. Like, how do you get more big plays? You know, I know it's a, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to. We're not getting enough. Somebody has to make them. First of all, that would help. And then I think we have to, you know, give more opportunities for them. I mean, they're not, you know, real high percentage throws usually. You know, high percent. You know, I mean, we're throwing it 20, 30, whatever yards down the field. We don't have a whole lot of, you know, like I said, you know, Raheem's probably the guy. You know, anybody else really doesn't. Not a whole lot of make miss and great tackles. So I think we're trying to do it. You know, we had a couple opportunities the other day that didn't come out. You know, we threw one up to Shameen. We got hit throwing another one to Shameen. We have the flea flicker. It doesn't come down with the ball. You know, so that's what's really preventing us from scoring. I mean, again, I think I've been saying it since I got here, and obviously it's not unfolding, but we're not going to score just running 5-yard plays. And so, you know, I don't know if it's been more on us than on, you know, the defense have done all these things. Defenses play their defense; they just line up and play. We just haven't been able to hit any big plays, you know. And so we're looking at now, just like we do every week. You know, you try to start with who more than what. You know, the plays you can draw them all up, and then go who. You know, I think we have to look at who we're doing it with, and we have to somehow we keep trying to force the issue, because otherwise we're not going to score.
In the Wildcat, could that be something that you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how, you know, you see what happens. I mean, we worked it pretty hard during the week just to, but you know, it's something I think we have to look at anything. I mean, we're not scoring, you know, we're not advancing the ball enough. So it's like all hands on deck for using your best guys. I mean, I think we got to look at any personnel packages and guys on the field that could help move the ball. And so that was part of it. And scheme-wise, we thought the red zone would give us an advantage there, numbers-wise, but you know, we don't execute it. So.
Is there? I mean,
Take 2 more
I know it was
questions.
Hilleman who did it, but was there any thought to giving it to Jonathan Lewis, considering that's the type of thing that he did well last year?
Well, I mean, he's a quarterback.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's, so I don't know if that, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, that's a whole different package if you're into that kind of gun run. And there is thought to that, using him to do that stuff. I think it gets reacted to a little bit differently because it is a quarterback, so maybe call-wise, it kind of changes what you're trying to get out of it. That would be the only difference.
Final question? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, John.
Thanks,
Thanks.